Keith, I want to ask you, what do you think about women supporting women in the corporate environment, in the job environment?
Look, I'm going to be contentious, but I'm going to be truthful. I would say of the women that I deal with, 50% are probably having trouble at work and they want to leave. Of that, a very large percentage of that is women having trouble with other women. So I've said it, right? I'm a man. Should I say it? I'm just telling you what are the facts here. Women that support women are fantastic, and you need more of that. But women that crush women because of what they call queen bee syndrome. In other words, I got here, I did well, and your competition, it's dreadful. It's really bad. And so you will find good women bosses, you will find bad women bosses, you will find good men bosses, you will find bad men bosses. That's across the board, but nothing worse than seeing that. So unfortunately, male allies, female allies are fantastic. If they're positive role models for you and support you, just take it.
He is Keith Amoss, a career coach and mentor with over 2 decades of rich experience in guiding individuals find their true career paths. Keith shares with us pivotal strategies that can transform your professional journey. We talk about the unique challenges women face in their careers, the critical role of domestic partnership in professional growth, and the undeniable power of networking. Keith also emphasized the importance of building alliances. His insights of finding female and male allies as mentors will inspire you to break traditional barriers and advance in your career. So as I always said, grab a cup of coffee or tea and learn actionable strategies to help you build resilience, maintain authenticity, and leverage your unique strengths. So welcome one more time to the Brilliantly Branded podcast.
Welcome one more time to the Brilliantly Branded podcast. Today, I'm happy to host Keith Amoss, a certified career coach, mentor. He is as well a master practitioner of Neuro-Linguistic Programming. He has a wide experience. He has guided countless individuals through career transition, helping them uncover their strengths and their aspirations. He has given us a hand. I'm including there because he is an inspiration for me as well. So in this episode, Keith will share his insights on overcoming career obstacles. How we can overcoming. As well, we are going to touch topics as balancing domestic commitments, updating skills, and the importance of networking. So this episode will be full of very interesting stuff. And actually, I wanted to give to you a warm welcome, Keith. And my first thing is, we will love, and I said, I know, we will love our audiences as well to know more about your background, what led you to become a career coach and a mentor. Welcome, Keith.
Well, thank you, Maria. Goodness me, I had to pay you a lot for all that introduction, didn't I? No, thank you. That's really
No.
generous. It's really generous, and I'm very happy to be here. And thank you so much. I'm just going to say that, I look at the podcasts, which are, many and varied, and yours comes across so professionally that I'm so happy to be on it. So you'll be able to tweak it and touch it up so I look better and more dynamic, I'm sure. Maria, thank you again. How did I get into this position? Let's go way back, which seems like 100 years ago. But when I left school, college, university, I had no clue what to do. And I decided to join the civil service until I knew what I wanted to do. And without going through the full story, I ended up in the Ministry of Defence. And loved it and really enjoyed where I was in the UK at that time, because I'm so old. At that time, it was Margaret Thatcher who was the Prime Minister. So it was a fascinating time to be working there. And from that, I ended up in human resources or personnel management, as it was then. Not particularly because I like dealing with people, but because I think people that say they like dealing with people obviously haven't met many people, because some of them are not that great to deal with.
True.
But the actual variety of the job and actually the in seriousness, the people that I was dealing with, I loved it. However, in human resources, if you can get yourself into any area of human resources that will give you as a person good feedback, it has to be in training and development. And I was very lucky to be able to leave the MOD and join NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, full time and became head of talent management. And I suddenly realized that people were knocking on the door in NATO headquarters in Brussels, my door, and saying, thanks for that training course. I really enjoyed it. And closing the door. And I'm thinking, my God, I got positive feedback. That's good, because you don't get people saying to you, thanks for paying me this month. You know, it's not what you get in
crazy.
HR.
Yeah,
It's a lot
true.
of negativity. And I told you the earphone would fall out. And so I realized that was really, really what I wanted to do, is to get into more of that, but to do it myself. So after a lovely, long and varied career, I spent time in Munich, in Germany, in Brussels, in the UK, in Norway, and finally in Luxembourg, I decided that it was time that I needed to stop whinging to everybody about what I wanted to do and actually do it. So I left and started my little career coaching, and I've not looked back. I absolutely love it. Been doing it for about 10 years now.
Wow.
If you want to know more, I think the best thing would be to have a look on my website, because people don't want to hear all about me. They'd like to hear some anecdotes and some tips and hints. So thank you.
No, you're right, and thank you for sharing that with us, because that happened with my guests. You know, when I brought them and I asked, tell me about your background, they are starting even to think, because normally you are not having to say your background to everybody. But I love that myself and my audience, and where our audiences know a little more about how did you arrive where you are right now, because then they see how, as you will say it, breaking paradigms and doing what you love to do is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So as part of our main topic, actually, that is inspiring women looking to make significant change and advances in their career, one of my questions is related with the challenges that we all have as a women, these unique challenges that we are having in the process of our career and the development of our career. So what are some common obstacles that you have been observed in this specific topic?
Well, thank you for that. I'm first of all, I think I might not go along the traditional path of saying the things which people would be saying, but I certainly recognize that they exist. So the typical response you would get would be, well, there's gender bias, that there's more men in high places, which indeed there are, that women are somehow discriminated against. I will agree with all of that, and I see it. 50% or more of the people that I deal with in the last years have been women. And what I've actually noticed is that many of the problems that they have are very similar to those of men. Much of it comes down to personality. Much of it comes down to their value systems. So those are the areas I'd just like to focus on a little bit more. And I think that one of the biggest issues is confidence. Now, I've met some incredibly confident and successful women. I've met some women who could be incredibly successful, but their confidence has been lacking. So most of the issue here, I fear, is actually self-belief, self-confidence, and the ability to carry on and do what they want to do. So a common barrier in both men and women is got to be that. So the first thing to do is to know yourself, is to know your strengths, know who you are, who you really are, and what you can bring into the world of work and into a career. So if you know who you are, then you can be authentic. Because when people try to put on roles, and I'm speaking, if I may, specifically to some women, when you put on a role that I'm in a male environment, I have to act like a man, that's going to be your biggest downfall, I believe. What you have is something very different and something very special. Marilyn Monroe was famously quoted as saying that she's happy that she's a woman, and she wishes that more women felt like that.
Yeah,
okay.
I love that.
So be aware that you are different, and be aware that you have something extra to give and something very special to give in the way you think, the way you act, and the way you are is going to be different from the way most men are.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah. And acting tough, acting differently is not going to work. It's not going to be to your best interests.
No.
So that's the first thing I'd say. Second thing is I think we do have to recognize that even in this emancipated world, women have more of the care giving and the managing of the family in many cases. And so I'm really happy to see that there's been changes in type of when and where people can work, and that women can have to spend more time at home and so on, and that men are realizing that they have to take a bigger share of domestic responsibilities. So have that conversation.
That's true. And thank you, Keith. And I just wanted to connect this with my next question that actually is related with this last thing that you mentioned, and is this balancing this domestic commitments. That is very important for us to know, okay, who is going to be in charge of what, and how we can both as a couple, or even one if you are single as well, how do you manage that, balancing this domestic commitment, how that really can be there as a conversation? What you will be advised related with that specific point?
Well, dear me, that's a tricky one. I mean, it comes down to your partner. From my background, I don't know any of my friends who wouldn't unstack the dishwasher, change babies' nappies, take the trash out. It's part and parcel of having a good partnership, that you know that if both of you are out at work, you have to share the responsibilities that go with it. And we're not in Victorian times. In Victorian times, the men would go out and do all the work and earn the money, and fine, the women would stay at home, look after the children, do the cooking. For goodness sake, it's long gone. I can't imagine men are still thinking like that, but maybe I'm wrong, and perhaps there are some that still do. So I think it comes down to having that crucial conversation with your partner. And I guess it works the other way around too, right? So men listening in. It's the crucial partnership. Look, we're both in this together. So we roll our sleeves up and we work together on this. Sometimes you'll be working hard. I'm going to have to do the domestic stuff. Sometimes I'll be working hard. Can you please take care?
Correct.
So let me just please smash some myth. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Okay? I don't believe it. It's absolute nonsense. When has it ever been balanced? I'm sorry. I could say these things because it's never been balanced. There's always been something going on in your home life which is dominating your mind, dominating your interests, dominating everything that's going on, and that takes priority. On the other hand, there may be something really important, really essential that's going on at work, and that needs to take priority. So the chances of there ever really being balance is very difficult. It's about harmony. It's about making it work, recognizing the ups and downs and managing those.
Yeah, that brought to mind something that we are doing with Philip, for example, and I am just revealing here personal stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's
good basically, stuff. It's sometimes you are like the battery charge. So you said, today I am just in my 20%. Would you mind to taking care of this or that? And the other person normally can understand that, or in my case, he can understand when I am not in my 100%. So there is this, as you say, harmony that you build through a conversation, through how we can really build this balance. Because the other important things connected with that is, for example, building not just your career, but as well building something very important next to that is the network that you build around that. And to build that network, you need to do, many things. Networking is vital. So actually my question is, how do you agree with your couple in certain moment, how you can need to go and build this network in order to, we as a human being sometimes needs to have everything under control, but as well need to do many things. So in terms of networking, how do you advise to arrive to those agreements?
Yeah, of course, but it's the same that you need to have in a relationship. And I know we're not talking about relationship coaching here, but in any good relationship, of course, there's time when it's football. I have to watch the football now. It's really important to me. Or my friend's birthday, I'm going to go out, or stag do. There's times when men would want to do stuff. That was a bit sexist because women like football too, and presumably go out on hen dos. But you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that there's a time for flexibility, obviously, and networking is very, very important. So can I just focus on that with the career in mind? Networking's not about you. It's not about you. And that's the biggest mistake that people make, is when they go to a networking event, which is basically just somewhere where a lot of people are gathered together and you can talk. They start by saying who they are, what they've got, what they can give, how they're unemployed at the moment, how they want to be employed, and can you help? No, that never works. Why?
Yeah, correct.
Because people are selfish, right? And people like to talk about themselves. So if you go to a networking event, put your ego to one side and ask these people that you meet about them. What are they doing? Where are they from? How are they managing in Luxembourg, if that's where you are? And then when they start to talk, you will pick up things. And it may be that when they say, yeah, we're working on this project, and what we're really looking for at the moment is a project manager, we're having real problems. Ding! Now you've got the opportunity, right? Now you have the opportunity to connect with them on LinkedIn that very day, that evening, or the next day, and say, great to speak with you. And you mentioned about project management. Maybe I can help you. Could we have a coffee and discuss this? So on the networking front, it's not about you, is my biggest one. And, recognize that, unfortunately, despite the sympathy and the empathy that people might give you for your personal situation, the natural need for people to be a little bit selfish means that what they're really interested is, can you help them? Could you help me? Oh, well, that would be good. Yeah, we could bring you in. That would be helpful.
You just gave us a big lesson. Yeah, you just gave us a big lesson related with networking, because the fact that people love to talk about themselves, and this is probably something that not many people knows. And when you go to a networking event, for example, doing those questions, key questions to let them speak, is part of, you just what said, that I found it super key. Connecting with the empathy, paying attention to what they say, because you can have thousands of conversations trying to do the networking and really don't paying attention about what they say. You are just in another mindset that you don't pay attention. And then sending them a message and said, you mentioned that is probably going to be this connector that will start to build this relationship. So key things you just delivered to us. Thank you, Keith, because this is really important in order to do the networking. I mean, it's key.
I'd just like to add another thing. Now, again, in the good old days, we all used to give business cards. Okay, it's now gone. We now have the mobile phone and we ding, except if you're like me, you can't work out how to actually push the right buttons. And so you're trying to find it on LinkedIn. But there are ways to connect. But the simple message here is, it's not about you giving your business card. It's about being so interested in the other person that you say, oh, do you have a business? I'd really love to know more. It's about your interest in them. So I'll leave it at those two tips.
Well, you have been already delivering a lot of tips that people that are really paying attention to this conversation will learn a lot. And part of the things end up being actually advised to develop your career, because if you don't do the networking, then how are you going to connect? Then how are you going to really grow and know the people in the right time, in the right place? So the other thing, and coming a little bit more with your career, how you have been developed that. What are some of these key lessons that you will learn from helping others? Because in the process that you have been having all these people that you have been helping, you have been learning from them as well, I guess.
Oh, without doubt.
Suppose.
Oh, yeah, without doubt. And that brings it to mentorship, actually, because I had some very good mentors when I was younger. And I think mentorship is really important. Find a mentor at work. Make sure that mentor is not your boss or in your line of command. They should be helping you anyway if they're good managers. Yeah. Find someone external. If you're a woman, find a man. As Sheryl Sandberg said, if women just talk to women, they're not going to break through any glass ceiling. probably
Correct.
better that they find an ally. And allyship is getting very important now in the world of work. Find a male ally and have them as your mentor to help you through. You know, my goodness me, I'm about the worst possible male, pale, stale, typical person. You'd say, well, that's not the person. But listen, I had a mother, I have aunties, I had 2 daughters, I have 4 granddaughters. I'm surrounded by women. I'm very lucky in that sense. And I see the problems that they have faced. So there are many men out there who equally know that women need that support, and they will be allies. So find those men, find the men that will ally and support your cause.
And Keith, I want to ask you, what do you think about women? Because you was talking about men allies, and that is completely good. But what about women supporting women in the corporate environment, in the job environment?
Okay, I'm going to be contentious, but I'm going to be truthful. I would say of the women that I deal with, 50% are probably having trouble at work and they want to leave. Of that, a very large percentage of that is women having trouble with other women. So I've said it, right? I'm a man. Should I say it? I'm just telling you what are the facts here. Women that support women are fantastic, and you need more of that. But women that crush women because of what they call queen bee syndrome. In other words, I got here, I did well, and your competition, it's dreadful. It's really bad. And so you will find good women bosses. You will find bad women bosses. You will find good men bosses. You will find bad men bosses. That's across the board, but nothing worse than seeing that. So unfortunately, male allies, female allies, fantastic. If they're positive role models for you and support you, just take it.
Yeah, well, let's say that there is a really call for women that really have to support other women and not getting into that fight that is not saying the rules, for example, the not mentioned rules that you should be giving to a woman that arrived to work with you in order for make her belong, make her feeling better in the environment. I think this is part of the things that we as women can do. And thank you for your advice, Keith.
Good. The other thing is resilience. Resilience is key in anything, male or female. You're going to put out, if you're looking for a job, lots of applications. You're going to get ghosted. You're going to get rejections. You're going to get to the final interview and fail. It's horrible, absolutely horrible, soul destroying, but keep going. For goodness sake, resilience is it. And within the job market or in the career market, like I said, 3 things: know yourself, know what you want, know how to get there. In the job market, sometimes the job you'll get, assuming that you know the career you want to follow, but the job you'll get won't be the one that you thought you'd get. So if you meet
what do you mean with that?
Well, so for example, so you're an HR, human resources expert, right? You don't think you should go into another lane. That's your expertise. That's your background. Well, fine. But actually, as I'm very lucky to say happened to me, I applied for a job which was a secretariat job, head of a secretariat. So it was running an office. It was being able to, make sure that papers were organized and meetings took place, international decisions were taken. It sounds pompous, but it was great. It was that sort of level. That's nothing to do with human resources at all, but I got the job. So if you meet the essential criteria of a job, go for that. Okay. Don't worry about the desirable, like should speak fluent French. Well, you don't. Well, it says should. But if it says must be fluent in French, you pretty much know that if you're not going to get that job. So I think look for the essential criteria, which are normally in the job description quite clearly. And then the desirable would be nice to haves. If you meet the essentials, go for it. If you meet the desirables, that's better. But if you don't let that rule you out. So resilience is key. Keep going and stay up to date. You've got to get into AI now. If you're not using ChatGPT or something similar, next year you will be behind the wave. You're still on the top now if you start to use it and all the other AI things. But if you don't, you'll be lost. Honestly, trust me, you will be. So embrace change and take a few risks. Take a few risks. Apply, again, I'm speaking emotionally here because I see it. I know really capable women who could go to very high places, but put their own glass ceiling above them. It's their own limitation they've set to themselves, not
Exactly.
that someone else has put it there. So take those risks. Go for that promotion. Go for 2 grades higher than you think you could go for. That would be a few things.
You mentioned something that took my attention, and is basically what I have been seeing in my personal experience. Myself, and I'm going to talk about myself as a woman, when I have been seeing a job description, for example, that is true. If I am not following one of the things that they are asking for, I said, no. Do you know, I am not going to apply. Men are different.
Yeah,
and this
totally.
is something that I love to bring in here. And I love that you give us this advice, because we are always hesitating. No, but yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't have that. I don't know that specifically. Of course, if it is the main, the main topic in the position, of course, no. But then these additional things that probably you can deal with, go ahead, apply, and get this job that you really are dreaming for. This is something that I have been even living,
Thank you. That's such an important point, because men would say, oh, there's one thing I can do there. I'll apply for this job. But no, you have to realize, having been on the other side in HR and recruitment and all these other areas, the job description is for Superman or Superwoman. Right? There's absolutely no way you're going to find that person. So even when they're putting out the advertisement, they know that there will be compromises and there'll be things that they won't get. That's why I say it's very important to say that this is essential. Look for the essential bits. If you can do that, go for it.
Yeah, is now that I have the opportunity to ask this question to someone that is part of the HR world as well as you have been, how that works, because what I have been seeing and perceiving is sometimes when the advertising of the position arrive to your hand, that are you applying and looking for that, is already a pre-selected list before of contacts of people that are inside of the company. So this is a reality that probably is no many people knows about that.
Oh, no,
do you know?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know about
reality. Absolute reality. But you as an applicant don't know that. So you as an applicant still need to apply. But for sure, there are many cases. And I think this was brought home to me by someone who was working with me. And I'd said to her about some recruitment that had gone on. I said, oh, that was all fixed and this person got the job. And I was working with NATO, and she said, but in this case, Keith, remember, you're working for a political organization. So don't complain about politics. Okay. Well, that's true. In some companies, in some organizations, not just in a political organization, there are office politics. There are politics. There are reasons why certain people are promoted. Certain people are going to get the job. It's not fair. It's not good, but that's life. But that's another reason for your resilience. Apply anyway, because I've also seen the opposite. I've also seen the preferred candidate get blown away out the water by someone who they hadn't expected.
Yeah.
Now they have a dilemma. We were supposed to promote John, but wow, Julie is fantastic. What do you think? So don't let that put you off.
And actually, we can connect that with the opportunity to do networking, because doing that networking probably will be open to you more possibilities to connect with that person that is already trying to spread the voice before to put in the advertising, I guess. What do you think about that?
Treat everything as if it's honest and open and straightforward. Don't try to see behind it. Just accept that it probably is, and therefore you're going to make the best application you can, and you're going to go for it. If in the reality it turns out that there was something else going on, well, that's not your business. You can't sort out what's going on in the shop. If you take your shoes to be repaired, how they repair your shoes, it's not up to you.
Lovely.
So,
yeah, I love that.
Do people get rid of shoes from their head nowadays? I don't think so. They probably just buy a new pair. But
it's a very good conclusion. Yes.
Just take it at face value and do your very best, knowing, as I say, you have to be resilient, that sometimes you'll think, why didn't I even get called for an interview? Well, because it was kind of sewn up behind the scenes.
Yeah, correct.
Don't get disparaged about that.
Don't get distracted with this information. Go ahead and apply and looking for your dream job. Yeah,
absolutely.
That is true.
Absolutely.
And just to start to wrap up, Keith, my last question basically is, in all your career in this process, I'm sure that you have had an amazing inspirational story about a woman that you have been already helping to succeed in their professional career. Would you like to really share that story with us?
See, I have. And I was thinking about this because I had an idea that might come up that would be good to tell a story. But I pride myself on keeping my confidentiality with people. So it's going to be very generic, okay? You won't even know whether it's a man or a woman.
Yes.
Okay?
Of course. Okay. Fantastic. Deal. No, of course. I don't want to reveal names here or whatever. No. Okay.
Truthfully and genuinely, it's not about what I do, it's about what they do. So it's hats off to those people who have made the change and been brave enough and determined enough and resilient enough to do it. So I have one person who was working in an office situation at a senior level, is now a train driver. I have one person who was working in a office in a very senior position in the financial world, who's now a teacher. I have people who have done major things, really. But it doesn't matter if people have stayed in the same job, but just become more confident and more happy with where they are because of a mindset change or a different reevaluation of the circumstances. If there's something I would say about it, you need to believe in your abilities. Okay, if I may wrap up and even put some bullet points down here. You need to be authentic. You need to find male allies and mentors. You need to take on challenges, be resilient, and don't set your own glass ceiling. It's fine for you to set where you want to be. If you're happy where you are, well, so what? If you're happy in your career and your job and you want to stay there, don't let anyone push you to do something different. But if you can come to a conclusion that actually, yes, it's me that's setting the barriers, then that's work with someone and overcome that and push yourself higher. So that would be my summary advice.
It's amazing. I really have been loving this episode. It is a lot of things to learn, a lot of calls for us to realize that it is many things that we need to put from ourselves in order to get it all the things that we really are dreaming with, and put it our own limitations, that it is just us doing these kind of things. So thank you, Keith.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you for being here. And I hope that people are going to contacting you. I'm going to put at your website and all the information where they can contact you, because you always have a very good conversation to have with people. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. I really appreciated this opportunity, and have a happy summer. Look, the sun's shining, which is rare in Luxembourg.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.
Lovely.
We hope you have been inspired by this content and join us for future episodes of the Brilliantly Branded podcast. We will continue exploring the power of branding and the stories behind successful brands. And remember, if you know a woman who has built a successful brand with a unique approach and a story to share, please refer them to our podcast. We would love to learn from their experiences and share their story with our listeners. Stay tuned for most episodes of Brilliantly Branded, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, on our YouTube channel for more branding insights and women empowerment. Until the next episode, ciao ciao.